Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size.
What is going on? Lone Chemist Podcast, episode 36 Mafia. What's up? My name is Johnny. I'm the Lone Chemist, and back with me, I have the two gladiators that I'm pitting against each other, fighting in the ring, as you will. So we have HiTop Films, and we have LawOfCinema back. What's going on, boys? How we doing?
I feel like this is sort of the hugging it out phase after the fight.
Yeah,
this is the epilogue.
We had the whole battle where we had the lions in the pit. You had your gladiator spears and shields, and now we're gonna actually.
And now you can hold me as I cry for the remainder of this podcast.
Actually, I feel like you could have. I don't even think it was that much of a bloodbath, because if you could probably make a drinking game of how many times we said I agree.
I agree.
In that first podcast.
The casual.
Okay,
I agree.
great.
And Johnny was over here like, fucking kill each other now.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends on Discord, I know I told you about this, pointed out that you looked really annoyed every time we cut you off, and I didn't catch that at all. But he mentioned really liking your face.
No, so I've heard that a lot. When I'm in the middle of a point, and obviously there's a little bit of delay because we're on the internet. Whenever I get cut off on something, it's not because I'm annoyed. I'm just like, oh fuck, damn it, I missed my chance.
I feel that, dude. I feel that. That's why I'm starting an audio podcast at some point with Natalie, and I was like, let's just not do any visuals, because I know that you're gonna get so pissed at me when I cut you off, and I'm gonna get so pissed, and it's just how it is.
Now, the only thing I would say with that is it is harder when you have a person on just audio and not visual. It's hard to kind of read their cues about things. So if someone's gonna butt in or something like that, if they have a quick point to make, it's a lot harder to have them come in.
Have them fall in.
Yeah, like the first podcast I did with Nando from Nando V Movies, I was trying to gauge when I should actually talk because he didn't have a camera, but second time it was fine. But yeah, man, you better fucking guest spot me and Jay in your podcast, man.
No, for sure. I want to have literally everyone. I want to do the podcast every day, man. That's
at the same time or consecutively.
Oh no. I probably just individually get both of you on.
Yeah, and it wouldn't even be film. It would be like philosophical. What is the meaning of the word film as opposed to just film itself?
Well, what I want it to be is this is off topic. We can talk about this some other time.
That's fine. I mean, this is going to be more laid back. Do you want to lay sort of?
Yeah. So
lay down
exactly.
what this is gonna be?
So because I saw Far From Home and these guys obviously did as well, I'm not really interested in having a segmented debate where I'm going to say give your point for 3 minutes or whatever. I think we're just going to generally talk about the film. So for people here from Alex's Twitter, you probably already know his opinion on Far From Home. Jay is.
I don't. What is it?
Far From Home made me sick to my stomach. I have a new. What's my tweet that got meme so hard? I have a new least favorite Spider-Man movie and a new least favorite MCU movie, and I stand by those words.
I wish I had an equally dramatic way of phrasing how much I liked it. It. I was actually sick when I watched it, so I wish I could say it made me feel better. But I'll get into that later.
Yeah. So as you can already tell, Alex is more on the negative side. Jay's more on the positive side. For me, I'm torn because there are some parts that I really liked about it, and there are some parts that I fucking detested. I wouldn't say I got the stomach flu from it, but I would say that I probably, you know what? Let's just let the conversation go. And just disclaimer for everybody: we'll take breaks intermittently if you have super chats or anything like that you want to send us. Everything goes to funding my depressed lifestyle. But other than that, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the gladiator fight. Just kidding. All right, so Far From Home.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Do you stand Tom Holland and Zendaya?
I need a hand signal for it. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Oh God, I really could have gone the rest of my life without seeing that.
I was gonna say, you might notice that this one is, even though it's not a debate, you might notice that me and Alex have opposite positions, and Johnny's somewhere in the middle. So it's kind of set up like one.
But it's not. It's not.
Yeah, this is a conversation, and if we disagree, it'll be candid and nice. It won't be.
If we disagree, I'll just say fuck you off camera. As soon as we're not live, I'll just never talk to these two again.
You should have a pillow and just scream into it whenever someone has a point you disagree with. All right, let's get into Far From Home. All right, so I guess I'm just gonna go off the bat. I will admit up front that there are some sequences in here that are absolutely fantastic. Case in point, the Mysterio illusion sequence is probably one of the best framed things in the MCU I've seen in a while. I'm not saying it's some of the best things I've ever seen film, but in terms of like a Spider-Man villain aesthetic, I thought they captured it really, really well. I thought it was really creative. I liked the emotional significance that some of the illusions actually gave to Peter Parker. Yeah, like I'll be the first to say there are some great things in the movie. Even though I'm not a fan of the way they do MJ's character, I do like some of the interactions that happen with Peter and MJ.
It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's cute.
Yeah, but this is my big problem with this movie in particular. So I guess I'll start negative. I'll go more positive towards the end of it, so we can have a little spiciness in the beginning. The whole theme of Homecoming is Peter Parker is living in the shadow of Tony Stark, wants to be, I just want to be like you. And by the end of the movie, he decides, I think I'm good. I think I'm just going to kind of do my own thing and whatever. And even though we may have subjective disagreements about the movie itself, I think that theme is pretty well laid out in the film because at the end of it, he starts to be like his own hero. The problem I have with this movie doubles down on the preceding theme. So at the end of the movie, I feel like if you compare Homecoming and Far From Home, we haven't really gone anywhere. And so, like, the proof for that is he gets, and everyone, spoilers, we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie. You haven't seen it, get the fuck out of here. Spoilers. Say it, Jay.
20 minutes.
Oh, God. Anyway, but he gets those glasses from Tony Stark, post-mortem, Edith. On the note, it says, for the next Tony Stark. Obviously, like he says in the movie, like, maybe I'm not ready for the next Tony Stark. He gives them Mysterio, everything gets fucked up. By the end of the movie, he gets Edith back, and then there is a montage scene of him assembling his arm with a holographic projection, playing AC/DC.
That broke me. It broke me.
And like, look, like, if they didn't do the opposite of that at the end of Homecoming, I probably would have been at least ambivalent, not ambivalent, but like completely in the middle of the road about it. But they just do the exact opposite of the theme that they had laid out in Homecoming. And that really pissed me off because what's the arc of the movie? It's a circle. It's Homecoming starts here, and then Far From Home goes right back to where they started. So is the next movie going to be Spider-Man assuming his role again when he's already trying to get out of the shadow of Tony Stark? And like, I don't really understand it from a thematic perspective. I don't know if you guys agree or not.
No, I obviously like 100% agree. One of my favorite things about Homecoming, and probably the reason that I like Homecoming more than Far From Home, was that they had that bit at the end where he's like, I'm good, Mr. Stark. And it's like a really good, like, he's a man now, he's growing up. He doesn't need Tony's help. And then, of course, like, he gets the red and blue suit back, and it's like, this is yours. And that works. It's still cute. It's fun. It, like, completes his arc. And then in this one, it just felt like they retreaded that. They threw in some different ideas about what it means to be the next Iron Man, and they have Happy directly tell him not to be the next Iron Man. But yet, a lot of this movie feels like an Iron Man movie. So it's just one of those things where I wish I could get what they're trying to say more.
I think part of that's just structural, though. Like the fact that it takes place and it's kind of a repeating formula. But yeah, I did kind of appreciate it more in the sense that it's Peter going from being the street level hero, graduating into the higher level threat in the place of Iron Man hero. But yeah, I totally get what Johnny was saying about it being a circle. I do agree with that point. I actually do, even though I liked it, like I said.
Yeah, like, and like the thing is, if they had the scene with Happy in the plane, which is like, the dialogue's absolutely fine there. I love Jon Favreau as Happy.
Happy is my favorite character in it.
Look, if they had a scene like that happen and it didn't do the whole like, you remind me of him, blast AC/DC, and then Peter calls it Led Zeppelin, which made me want to kill myself as a fucking classic rock fan. But like, that is a direct callback to Iron Man. So you've already kind of banished Tony Stark from your identity as Spider-Man. And obviously it's different because of if they just cut to like him making the new suit and then he goes fight Mysterio, I'd probably be pretty happy with it. But the fact that they make it so blatant, and like on a secret podcast, quick plug, watch that show. Matt said, honestly, they probably could have done a Hallmark movie channel thing where they had a like fucking
where he's doing the whole like
obviously.
Yeah. But I think it's just inconsistent within its own scene where Happy's literally like, be your own hero, and then the next thing John Watts shows us is him just being like Iron Man, and it's just weird to me that they would do that. And I get it. I get why. And it's a cool callback. Like if you're on like the whole, you love the element of Peter being like Tony Stark's, Tony Stark being Peter's mentor, then it's like a cute, sweet moment of like, oh, look, he's just like Daddy Tony. But the issue is if the theme of the movie is be your own hero, and then
You're coming from there. I guess one way of interpreting it could also be that he's just becoming the leading hero.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, maybe if they just Woody, and then
Johnny.
Yeah, I'm just making sure that I think the stream is like getting fucked up.
He's angrily tweeting about HiTop films and how he's
welcome to
cancer.
the fact that I'm cancerous to the film Twitter dialogue kind of makes me feel accomplished, because that means people take my thoughts that they shouldn't take seriously.
The film Twitter dialogue just sucks anyway, so as long as it's interesting. I guess we could talk about the action. I mean, I really like the action in this movie.
I got a lot of shit because in my Far From Home video, I said that I wish the illusion scene had more practical effects. And like, well, it's supposed to be CG. And I'm like, yeah, fucking of course. I'm not talking about how Mysterio, when he lifts him up and Peter's in the snow globe, that's the fishbowl head. Like, you can't do that for real. I'm just saying, why is Peter Parker in that scene? Why is Spider-Man look like a cartoon still?
Peter poking himself in the mirror could have been green screened.
Yeah, it could have been like...
Yeah.
Guys,
I did really appreciate that.
Yeah,
But I'm watching it and I'm just like, I just want Spider-Man to not look like a cartoon. Is that too much? Like, is that too much for me to ask?
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned like the fact that it's all a digital simulation anyway, so it like works from a logical perspective. That's the one thing that kept it from taking me out. I actually thought about changing.
Did you see that picture that was the green screen with Fury behind it with Sam Jackson that went around on Twitter?
No.
Oh man, it's just when he shoots Ned, it's not a set. He's just sitting in a chair and there's a green screen behind him and his gun's green screen.
Really?
And it's just like, why? Like, why? What is the point of that? Isn't that more money you're wasting? Can't you just drag Sam Jackson to set? Remember when set design was a thing?
I mean, it still is just outside of the MCU, which is why I say I need to just take a break from all this.
It's just like, I think it's a matter, it just really just depends on your personal taste. That's what I've learned from making these videos. And
well, I mean, your enjoyment of any movie depends on your personal taste. It's just the fact that it's art.
Right.
But by the way,
quick thing. All right, so I don't know which of you has the shitty internet. One of the streams is
Google Fiber, so I think it's.
Yeah, Alex, you're still fine. Johnny's frozen on my end. Is he frozen on your end too?
Yeah, Johnny, you keep lagging on my
really?
Skype call. Yeah, sorry.
Do you think it's yours? Do you think it's your Wi-Fi?
I'm hardwired in, and I have business internet, so it shouldn't be me. I don't know what's going on here.
How is my stream? Am I lagging?
No, you're pretty good.
You're not lagging. It's something that happens sometimes when you have like Skype calls and you have multiple people.
Also, you're fucking live streaming this, so it's also like
taxing for my computer. All right.
Wait, are we off now?
No, we're still like live. It says. I don't know what's going on here.
I hope this won't be a nightmare to edit.
Oh, it's gonna be a nightmare to edit for sure. But yeah, fuck it. Yeah. So
I think we're good. Are we good?
Are we good? I guess so.
Well,
all right.
Should we just keep going?
Just keep going. Honestly, like whatever. This can be a lost episode if it doesn't fucking post properly. Who cares? All right. So some things that I also didn't like about this movie, aside from just the thematic kind of circular notion of the film, is how little gravitas the reveal of Peter Parker's identity to the entire world actually has. Because I get it. Post-credit scene, I loved that fucking J. Jonah Jameson was back. I loved it so much. I was really, really happy with that. But this is a world where superheroes, and specifically the Avengers, are venerated. So, like, how am I supposed to feel there's any kind of dramatic significance when Peter Parker's name is said out loud, when he spends a lot of the movies he's been in fighting with his mask off? Like, I don't really, I don't know. I couldn't latch out of that, yeah.
They never made, like, the thing that people were like, oh my God, it could be a really cool story. And yeah, it could be in the third movie. But remember what they did with Aunt May? Where they set that up to be a thing, and then it's just not a thing at all.
Yeah, that is like, that is definitely a problem that I have.
And it's
but I mean, they could do something. I hate to just repeat what you just said, but they could do something cool with it. I mean,
they could.
I think they could. If you're wondering where the conflict is, Johnny, it's just it's the typical if my enemies found out who I am, no one I know would be safe. But again, I feel like we're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah.
But also, it's weird because both enemies know exactly who he is. So like, what the only two enemies that we've met, except for I guess Scorpion and I guess Shocker in Homecoming, but like Mysterio knew that he was Peter Parker, and
Mysterio's he's dead.
Vulture knew he's dead. Yeah. Vulture knew, and that pissed me off too. I'm sorry, but like the post-credit scene, one thing I fucking loved about Homecoming was that the established like respect between Michael Keaton and Peter Parker, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you who he is because he saved my life. He saved my. I love that too, but now that's kind of rendered pointless because now if everyone knows, then what does the Vulture have connection? Like, what does the Vulture have that could be interesting if they reintroduce him? And it's like not much now.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
I just wish it was like you said. I wish there was more. I can't feel any like gravitas, like you said, in these movies, or like heavy things. And I know that's not what they're trying to be, so I can't really be mad at them for not trying to be something they're not. But my issue is like, to me, I've said this like 40 million times in the last debate, but Spider-Man's never been like a light character from what I've experienced, like what I've read. He's always like angsty, and it always feels like the weight of the world's on his shoulders. Yeah. And this movie gives you more of that than Homecoming. Like they play at that idea more, but still overall it's like a fun summer teen comedy vacation.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, how much you enjoyed it is going to depend on. Well, yeah, this movie had a tough job to do in that it had to be a sequel to Homecoming and it had to be a sequel to Endgame, and so it had to sort of tie both those up tonally. And like Cap said in his video, whether or not you think that did that well is probably going to affect your enjoyment of this. I liked it. I mean, I personally thought you mentioned in your video, what was it? It was that Peter. You don't buy that Peter's struggling with Iron Man's death because he just wants to go on a vacation and be with MJ. Was that it?
Yeah, I got so much shit for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I wish I could phrase this in a more interesting way than I don't have a problem with it.
No, but that's fine, man.
It isn't something that stands out to me. Like this movie does have the job of carrying over that fun vibe from Homecoming, and also the stakes of Endgame, which I think it did well at times. And I also think, well, I see you nodding your head, Joe. We can talk after this, but
yeah,
I don't mind that this universe is making Spider-Man the sort of palate cleanser of the universe, the more fun human perspective on the events, which is part of the reason why I didn't really get that bothered by the beginning montage where they turned Endgame into a joke. But I think it worked well because it wasn't Peter who was doing it, so it's not like his character isn't affected by those events, and also because we just came off the back of two movies that were filled with depressing moment after depressing moment, and different sects of the MCU are going to treat those moments differently. And you could say that it's not Spider-Man to be this fun all the time, but again, there are different iterations of Spider-Man, and they don't all have to. I mean, you can jump in. What was your biggest problem with the way they treated the events of Endgame?
Like
me or Johnny or both?
Either one.
I'll quickly, like, it totally makes sense the way they reference like the meme of everyone being blipped out of existence. I totally get that. And also, like, the second time I saw the movie, I actually did appreciate the fact that, okay, these kids grew up in, like, you know, it's like people making 9/11 memes now, like really fucked up tragic things make it to memes. My problem with it, though, is like, it on one hand, it shows how fucking isolated this high school is and how the regular populace doesn't really understand what happened in Endgame, and they just know that these people are dead. And I mean, I don't really know how they know that people are dead or anything like that. But regardless, it shows how segmented and isolated these kids are. But the problem is, like, I just didn't like the sentiment that it gives off after. Like, I was gonna say, I don't like the sentiment it gives off. I mean, it makes sense, like, if it's a high school, like, you know, comedy and stuff. But then they kind of hint the fact that, like, people are reeling from the experience of Endgame, and they subvert it in the first 5 minutes of the movie. I don't really understand, like, what I'm supposed to gather from how the world is treating a post-Endgame actuality that makes any sense.
Marvel's always done that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, to be fair, it isn't a joke in universe. It's just the presentation of it that's funny. In universe, it's supposed to be like their best attempt at an in memoriam thing.
But see, I never like. That's the thing is, I never felt that anyone really gave a shit about that except for Peter. But the problem was that Peter didn't really suffer anything from the blip other than dying. But it's never like, bro, you died, because everyone else around him died too. So it's not like there's so many storytelling choices that they could have made that I think would have made like the people who want something that's a little less light happier. Like, I'm just saying, keep the movie exactly the same, but have Aunt May not have been blipped or
yeah,
snapped,
she ages.
whatever.
Yeah, have it like that.
Yeah.
Have it, she ages. She's older now, so it's closer to like everyone's idea of Aunt May, right? A. B, it's like, oh my God, like I lost my son for 5 years. Like,
Also, interestingly, the Russos actually said off camera that Aunt May was still alive after.
Yeah, I know. I remember that. I think that's just because, like, I think it's weird to me because I have been thinking about Endgame a lot because I'm going to do a big video on it, But it's weird that the Endgame ends on such a, it's really depressing. Iron Man's dead, and then it's uplifting towards, like, the final minutes because it's like Cap was happy, but it's almost, like, melancholy, the end of Endgame, right? And then this movie comes along. Yeah, it's bittersweet. And this movie comes along, and then it's Spider-Man, who's always kind of like angsty for most of the time. It's the perfect opportunity for them to start switching it more to taking things more seriously in this Spider-Man franchise. But they actively avoid doing that at every turn. And that's not something that's why we were just talking about this off camera. It's subjective. It's all about personal taste. But that's why I think I'm so rubbed the wrong way, is because clearly they don't want to go in that direction yet, or maybe ever. They don't want to take Spider-Man to be like the emotion-filled, like angsty boy of the MCU.
Yeah.
And that just makes me sad.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like, I feel like a thing that Spider-Man did really, really well as a comic character is, like, it has the angsty parts of it, but, like, you see that Spider-Man is a mask that he wears, and so when he's in the actual costume, he quips and he shits on criminals and makes fun of them and stuff, but, like, it's grounded in such a real-world premise. Like, he's a kind of a pseudo-populist guy. Like, he everyday struggles. He lets people down and stuff. And I feel like these movies don't really get a great sense of how to balance the two, because they're treating just the comedy in the forefront of the movie, where the comedy is actually meant to, like, kind of touch on a character flaw of Spider-Man and Peter Parker, where, like, it's almost like a coping mechanism when all these fucked up things happen to him. It's a kind of a less crude version of Deadpool. Like, he makes fun of things because he can't really cope with the realities of, hey, if my fucking mask is taken off, then all my family members are dead. And
somehow the Deadpool movies are more emotionally charged than, I would say, Far From Home and Homecoming.
Yeah,
like, because they have dark shit happen, and they have that real tangible romance. At least for me, it works for me with Wade and Vanessa in the Deadpool movies, and it has like a heart to it. And this movie, I think that the comedy of Spider-Man should come from the contrast of how almost regular life can be really bleak. And so the fun, uplifting element of Spider-Man comes from when, like Johnny said, when he puts on the mask and can be fun Spider-Man. But my issue with this whole movie is, like, Peter Parker's life, he's in Europe. He's having a summer vacation. It's fun. And then when he's Spider-Man, it's a little bit more stressful, but it's still fun. Like, the vibe of the movie's fun. It's always fun. It's a comedy first, always.
Yeah, well, I mean... You gonna say something, Johnny?
No, I was going to say, like, a small change that I think I could make. I hate to be like Nanavy movies right now, but, like, a small change I think I could make is, like, what if, one, Aunt May was not blipped and she aged, and, like, you have, like, more time in the movie on their relationship and develop that, and, like, have, like, maybe, like, look, I know you're Spider-Man and I get it, but, like, I'm scared for you from stuff. What if you moved that more time, like, another 10-15 minutes on, like, the post-Endgame world and how Aunt May is terrified of losing her son again, and then move the vacation a little bit later, so, like, the movie doesn't feel like you're just literally on a road trip the entire time. It's like, he's like, this is, like, the most stressful fucking job. I didn't ask for this shit, so I'm gonna go on vacation, like, 30-40 minutes into the movie, and then he gets smacked all the elemental shit. Like, I feel like that'd be a pretty easy change to make, and actually would make more emotional sense after Endgame happens. If that makes any sense.
I agree 100%.
I really don't like how inconsistent Aunt May's character
Yeah.
in this regard. Yeah, because like in Homecoming, one of the better scenes I thought was the moment when she was freaking out about the fact that Peter wasn't returning her calls and she didn't know where he was, and she acted like it was the most devastating thing that had ever happened to her. In this movie, she could probably see on the news that there's a water monster freaking wrecking this entire town, and she just calls Peter afterwards. She's like,
"You okay?
You good? Cool."
And I'm gonna go back to like, fucking happy. I'll see you later. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, dude, I had that edit in my video where it was just him being like, Ned, if Aunt May found out about me being Spider-Man, she wouldn't let me do this anymore. And then it's just like, in this
high five.
She's his fucking PR agent.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, Alex, there were just so many choices they could have made, and it literally like small things could have made the movie so much better, in my opinion. But like, I will admit, like on Jay's point, like there are some things that I love about this movie, but I don't know. It
just seems like so. I want to hear your thoughts on this, Jay. I want to hear your thoughts.
My thoughts on what specifically?
In 25 years, I don't think anyone will remember this movie because of how light it was. And how
that's fine, man. Not every story has to be the best one. That's part of the reason why I don't have that much of a problem with it, because I don't really see it as every Spider-Man movie having the task of either being the best or worse. I think it's possible to just have a decent Spider-Man story and then move on.
No, I get that. I get that.
I totally get like the frustration with this not being the best one, but I mean. Actually, I did have something that I wanted to go back on before we move on. It was the point that you said about this movie not dealing with the consequences of Endgame. I think that it's a decision that makes sense within the universe, which is a point we kept coming back to in the last debate. Like, Homecoming established this Spider-Man as the silly high school corner of the universe, right? Like it or hate it, that's what it is. And so because of that, I wouldn't really put the onus on it to portray like the brutal depression of being a citizen who had someone you love blip and come back, and like the mental agony you went through. It wouldn't be totally fitting.
No, I get that. It's just my angle of it is if they were ever gonna do that, holy shit, hold on. My headphones are glitching.
I'm gonna take this off because this is actually kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
If any character in the Marvel universe was the one to do the whole someone I knew got blipped, it's Spider-Man. Like in the comic universe, it's always going to be Spider-Man. Then when 9/11 happened, that great, wonderful issue by Straczynski and John Romita Jr. And it's like, that's the character that's always dealt with grief and dealt with that. Like he's literally the embodiment of like guilt and grief. Mm-hmm. And I get that the MCU Spider-Man isn't that, but then like we said in the debate, to me, that's just not Spider-Man. Like I can't connect to that in any way, shape, or form. Maybe if I turned my brain off completely and I was like, okay, this is just, I'd never seen this character before, I think maybe I'd enjoy the movie more. But it's just because like I have that whole history of like, I grew up with the Raimi movies and I grew up reading certain comics. I was raised on a different kind of Spider-Man than you young whippersnappers. I'm fucking joking. But it's just, I just can't connect.
Hold on, is Johnny young or old?
Johnny's old. Johnny's older than me. He's probably read fucking older shit than I have. But
yeah,
it's just I just can't do it. I don't know. I wish I could. I wish I could connect. I wish I could just enjoy it for what it is, which is a fun summer teen movie that contains the character of Spider-Man. But it seems just like so much wasted potential to me every time I watch one of these so far. Like every decision where they go left, and I understand why they went left, like I wish they would have gone right, and that's just my personal preference,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm like I have kind of a different opinion from Alex. Like, look, like this doesn't bastardize my interpretation of Spider-Man. Really, it's just like, I guess kind of expanding on your point, like. There are so many things where like I'm just disappointed that like this would have been a really easy change to make and they don't do it because like I don't know if they're afraid of like making it a little more serious like as he ages or it's because, I don't know, the writers suck or something. I really don't know. I don't understand why. Like I get it, like the levity part of it, because they're treating Spider-Man as a levity kind of driven character, and I get that for this universe. But if you're going to center it after Endgame, and he dies, and imagine that. Imagine coming back to the world. 5 years have passed. The world's not the same place anymore. And like
there's none of that at all.
There's none of that. Like, the only thing I do is like they have the buff fucking Asian dude is trying to bang MJ, and that's pretty much it.
Wait,
like,
Jay, please tell me, even though you're a big fan of the movie, can we all agree that the Brad love triangle is perhaps like the stupidest fucking thing in one of these movies?
I thought that Brad as a character was kind of an interesting way to convey that the blip happened, but the triangle itself, I mean, yeah, it was unnecessary. I'll give you that.
I just don't understand why. The whole time in the theater, I'm like, who is this guy? Why am I watching this?
Well, I mean, the who is this guy reaction, I think, was kind of the point on some level, because he's a guy who wouldn't have been there unless he aged up during the blip.
No, I just mean I'm sitting there in the theater like, who is this man's? Why am I watching this? Mm-hmm. And that drone scene that's like a meme now, where like he jumps out of the bus and webs the drone because he orders a drone strike on a kid. That is just right there. That's all. That's like that is why I don't like this franchise. There's a scene where Peter Parker orders a drone strike on a kid because he's trying to get back a photo of him getting undressed with a SHIELD agent. Like, just saying that out loud is something that I would like. Yeah. You could have asked me when I was 2 years old, and I would have said like, I never want to see Spider-Man do those things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm beat. I'm broken by this whole thing.
I would say on that note, do you how long have we been doing this for?
Like,
I know the stream has been blipping in and out.
But, honestly, this is like a meme. It's been blipping in and out, but it looks fine on my end. I don't know what's Reed's problem.
Sounds good to me.
30 minutes, you said?
30, 45, something like that.
So do you want to begin sort of transitioning into the things that you like, Johnny, and then I'll hop on a lot of those?
Yeah, like again, even though like towards the end of the movie it was memey, I did like the relationship between Happy and Spider-Man, and even though it's a different iteration of the character, I thought that worked really well. I just wish they didn't undercut it with the AC/DC thing. I thought that Jake Gyllenhaal's performance, Mysterio, was very interesting, and I liked it. I just didn't like how expositional heavy it was, and I get it. All the MC movies are exposition heavy. I just wish there was not like a scene like, a toast to you. You did this for me. A toast. You did this for me. And
it's fine. I mean, I did find that little montage creative. I like that they brought back cast members from the previous movies.
No, for sure. And, was the most subtle way. That's what I wanted. But it was a good character. Like
Gyllenhaal's performance during that moment kind of is what kept my enjoyment, because like I love the quick like instantaneous change between calm mentor and just like insane.
Yeah. What a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
That was good.
He was by far my favorite part of the movie. I really liked Mysterio.
I liked his performance a lot, but I like I said a million times, does he have to be connected to Iron Man? And if so,
I don't care about him being connected to Iron Man. That's one of the criticisms that I just don't get. Like, I understand the criticism that he should be tied more to Peter as a character, but him being tied to Iron Man makes total sense.
No, I think it makes sense. My issue with it is it's never used to critique Tony. Like this Manzo stole Beck's tech. Didn't steal it, but like never you never knew that anyone other than Tony built the barf tech.
Well, no,
right?
the villain critiques it. That's the whole point of that exposition.
Well, I mean, he's mad about it, but like, does Peter ever feel any kind of way about the fact that Tony Stark stole the barf tech? Does Peter ever feel any kind of way about the fact that like Damage Control fucked over Vulture? You know, it's just like there's so many opportunities, like Johnny and I keep saying, for them to be like, okay, how does Peter feel that his dead mentor, you know, maybe wasn't this perfect hero that he idolized? But yeah, it's like, it is too fun for that. It doesn't want to go that route. And I guess I can't be mad at a movie for not doing something that it doesn't want to do, like I said earlier. But it's just like, couldn't you have just thrown me a bone with that? Like, maybe Peter's like, oh shit, that's kind of fucked up. I'm sorry, Tony, like, fired you and stole the barf tech.
Yeah.
But
It's so funny. That's a meme in and of itself. But like, I totally agree. Like, even though I do like Mysterio's character and how he's linked to Tony, like, I just wish that, like, you know, it feels like he was evil because somebody has to be evil. It didn't feel like it made logical sense, like, why they're in conflict with one another. And I'm not saying, like, it's not, like, you know, well laid out for, like, their conflict. But I'm saying, like, if you're going to have him be this evil supervillain, you have to at least, let Peter see things from his point of view. And I feel like the only sentiment that Peter will have with him, well, two of them, A, mentor, but you fucked me over because you're really evil.
For 2 days and 20 minutes of screen time. But
yeah.
That's why I don't have a problem with Mysterio's turn having that much of an emotional toll on Peter, because he didn't know him for that long.
But also, I mean, like I think it would be more impactful if Peter understood what he was trying to do and actually, like, you know, maybe have Mysterio, you know, be more like Syndrome from The Incredibles or something like that. Where, like, legitimately, it's not because he wants to get back to Tony Stark, it's because these fucking Avengers, man, like, they get all the glory, and I basically, like, put the team in my back, and I made tech for this guy. Like, I want to be the hero. I want to be the one who's going to save the universe. Like, I want to be the one who is going to, like, be the consequential one here. And if they did that, then Peter could actually, like, you know what? I kind of understand what you're talking about, because you got fucked over, like, for sure. But with this one...
They could just make a parallel to Peter, which they kind of do, where they're both supposed to be the next Iron Man, whereas, like, Beck so desperately wants to be the next Iron Man, and Peter doesn't really want to be the next Iron Man, and that's there. It's all there, but it's not explored, in my opinion. It's not explored enough. Like, we have Beck, he knows Peter for 2 days. He's a cool uncle type, right? And he's good. Like, the performances are great. Like, that's my favorite thing about the movies. I think everyone's performance in it's great. I think Zendaya's great. I think all the kids, even though I don't like that writing, I think they're fun. You know, I think Tom Holland's amazing. I just wish I wish I liked the writing more. But he knows Beck for 2 days, and he gives him the glasses, which could be this big thing where he's, like, shirking his responsibility, which I think is what they were going for. But yet he gives Beck these glasses that have the power to call drone strikes on people, and he never really vets them. He's just like, you know what? He stopped the elemental. Tony would have wanted you to have these glasses. And then it's just right there you lose the believability for me, because I think Peter Parker in the MCU is smarter than that. Like, he learned...
I think it's S.H.I.E.L.D. vetted him would be, I mean, the in-universe answer to that.
But then it's like, oh my God. But then it's like, the Skrulls, I don't want to get into that. Then it's like Nick Fury was a Skrull the whole time, so I guess he vetted him at some point between, I don't know.
That reveal's kind of meh for me. I mean, I don't like that it kind of cancels out some of the moments that I liked between Nick Fury and Peter Parker.
Yeah. Also, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had to leave before that scene happened, so I don't know what the fuck happens except for the fact that Talos is Nick Fury in that movie.
It's just that Nick Fury is on a spaceship base, sort of orchestrating S.H.I.E.L.D. from up there, and Talos was just a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent the entire time.
And Nick was on vacation. He had a simulated VR vacation the whole time, and that's the gag. It's like a ha-ha moment. But
I mean, Nick Fury's off-world, so that is kind of an important thing for the universe.
Yeah, but, like, for the future of the MCU, like, is there any kind of, like, consequence for, like, what's
maybe like Secret Invasion. Maybe
it's really quick. I mean,
but it's just a joke. That's what it is. It's not meant to be like a dun dun dun. It's just like ha.
Yeah. But yeah. Okay. So more some of my positives, because I did a lot of complaining. I thought a lot of the action was great. I liked the Hydra Man scene. I liked the introduction of Mysterio, like the superhero, not just Jake Gyllenhaal. I did like some of the road trippy aspects, even though, like, I just wish it was sequenced and paced a bit differently. But I did like the push and pull that you see from Peter Parker and, like, trying to live like a normal life. I wish that the normal life part of him had a little more emotional significance, except for the fact that I'm tired and, like, I'm trying to, like, you know, kick my feet back and, like, you know, smoke a J or whatever. But
in
yeah,
an MCU movie, never.
Say again?
I said in an MCU movie, never.
Yeah, can you imagine they smoking weed in an MCU movie? That'd be so lit.
I was talking to my buddy about that. I was like, you know, if I was doing Spider-Man, I could do whatever the fuck I wanted. Like, if I was doing a grounded high school, I would just make Peter Parker go to a party where everyone's, like, passing around a bong, and he doesn't want to hit it because he's a good boy. But, like, all these kids are like, fuck you little pussy. Like, I wish there was more of that realism when it came to high school, but this high school is so, like, PG, I think.
It's idealized. It's like
it's definitely idealized, and it's funny, but it's also like, I'm not asking for like 13 Reasons Why or Euphoria level dark, twisted fucking high school, but I wish there was some more, like kids do things that aren't great all the time, and kids aren't completely, childish, and they don't like say okay. Go ahead.
No,
Keep talking.
I totally agree with you, but I will say the one high school thing I thought was fucking hilarious. I don't know the intro with Endgame. When they're playing basketball and the marching band like materializes back into existence and everyone freaks out. That was really funny. I thought that was one of like the more actual effective parts of the comedy that they actually put in the movie.
I think the teachers are the funniest too.
Yeah, I disagree. I hate.
You didn't fuck with the teachers?
No, I didn't fuck with them at all.
The funniest, the joke that landed the most for me at least was when the guy from Freaks and Geeks, I don't know what his name, Mr. Harrington, is that it?
Whatever.
That it? I don't know. It says like he says that my wife acted like she got blipped or some shit, or like that was funny. That was like the funniest joke in the movie. I thought that was so funny. I fucked with that.
All right, Jay. So Alex and I have done a lot of bitching. So, I mean, do you feel like any of our stuff we've said is kind of like not legitimate, or?
No, I understand all those criticisms. It is just another case of me sort of just not being that bothered by a lot of this. I mean, I don't mind the fun team dramedy aspect of it. I think it's cute. I think it's a nice palate cleanser, like I said, for a lot of the bigger moments in the MCU. I also really liked MJ in this movie and her and Peter's relationship. I like how she was developed from Homecoming. Like, I like the fact that, like Captain Midnight pointed out in his video, her edginess is, you're freezing a bit. Her edginess is used less as a joke, and it's used as more of a defense mechanism for her social anxiety. I thought that was really nice. I felt like they captured the awkwardness really well. It seemed really representative of a real high school relationship to me, especially the fact that it's like founded on awkwardness. And I don't know. Did you like MJ in this movie, Johnny?
Yeah, no, I liked her, but there is one thing I'm not a big fan of. First of all, like you said, I love the dynamic between the two of them, and I think that Zendaya actually would be a really good MJ going forward. The problem is, like, I wish they did something more in the vein of Spider-Man PS4, where basically she's like a journalist in training, and basically that's why she's so good at investigating stuff. If they kind of like reference that maybe, and then like, she's an actual journalist, she actually like looks to investigate things, and then they said like, yeah, you're Spider-Man, no shit, I'm not a fucking idiot. Like, yeah, I would like that.
Like you said, she's not an idiot. I mean, I always have a soft spot for comic book properties that just are fine with facing the fact that it's just obvious that the hero is who they are, and so any normal person, any decently intelligent normal person would be able to figure it out. So I don't really have a problem with her figuring it out that easily. What were you gonna say, Alex?
I was just gonna say, my question is like, who is Mary Jane in these movies? Like, what do we know about her outside of she has this, like, I like the fact that they, especially in Homecoming, like, she's not a character, but in this one, she at least has something to her where she guises like probably her insecurities with her like sardonic humor and her like off-put, like, her edgy humor and stuff. But also it's just, I want to know more about who these people are. Like, who is Ned? What are his interests outside of Peter? Like, why I just want these characters to be more fleshed out, especially with Mary Jane, because, I mean, MJ, because it's, it's Mary Jane. Like I said in my video, it's the girl he's going to end up marrying 35 movies from now, when Tom Holland's like 45 years old and this franchise is still going. But I just wish to know more. Like, would the MCU ever give her that abusive home life that she has in the Raimi films and in the comic books? I hope they do.
I mean, like the point I brought up last time is that because this is part of a cinematic universe, the time frame is just extended to hell. So we might see that. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. It's not like this movie is going to this is going to be capped as a trilogy.
I just hope. What I said this in the last debate too, but I hope that going forward, a new filmmaker comes on and brings a more mature element as Peter gets older. Mm-hmm. And maybe I will like these movies more when it gets mature, because then I'll know that it plans on getting mature. But right now, at this point, it just feels like every decision, like Johnny and I were saying, every decision they make is to keep it, fun and, a palate cleanser and lighthearted. And I need more.
I would need more if there weren't parallel interpretations that are existing right now
at the same time,
like PS4 and Spider-Verse. So I don't need this one to be the one just because there are other ones right now. That's why it doesn't bother me that much.
I just believe that it's just when you're dealing with a iconic character such as Spider-Man, you can interpret it any way you wish. It's like your duty to interpret it any way you wish. But I wish this felt more like a legend rather than an episode. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like even the Amazing Spider-Man films, you know, like they're not great, obviously, but they feel important. The stories that happen to Peter feel important. And at the end of the day, at the end of Far From Home, I didn't feel like that movie had that importance, even though it did, if that makes sense. Like, it had Peter being disillusioned to the idea of a mentor, probably because Beck fucked him over so bad. And you have that great moment where Tom Holland's like, "You can't trick me anymore." And I love that moment.
Yeah, the gun moment was awesome.
But then 10 seconds later, he's like smiling at the airport and he goes home to Aunt May and he's like, "Are you guys dating?" And then it's like, haha. And then he swings away and it's like, haha, I'm with my girl, haha. And it's just like, I want to feel that lasting impact. I want to feel like I'm going to think about this movie in 2 weeks. You know, I want to feel like it's going to stick with me. But both these movies, I feel like if I didn't make videos and I didn't obsess about how much I don't like them, I feel like I would not remember anything about it 2 weeks later. It would just be a fun time, an enjoyable theater experience, but it wouldn't stick with me. And I want stories to, you know, punch me in the face and teach me something new about life and, you know, lead me in a direction where I can learn something and gather from the themes and all that stuff.
Yeah, I totally agree. And also, like, and to expand on that, Alex, a little bit, like, I like this movie. Like, I'm not saying it's, like, you know, as bad, but, like, the way I feel about this movie in terms of like how it actually changed my perception of the MCU or my perception of these movies is not changed one bit by watching Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it's just like the fact that I feel maybe this one's a little bit better than that in terms of the emotional significance is a problem for me. Like, and that's because it's Spider-Man for any of those movies.
Like,
and
that's the thing, and that's like why I think Jay's like, so, you know, you're very much, oh, it didn't bother me, and that's great. I wish I could have that mentality. But for me, it's just like, this is Spider-Man, bro. Like, that's my whole thing. That's
I totally get that.
My big thing is like, if this was an Ant-Man movie, I'd like it. You know, if this was, I think it was fine. I'd have my issues with it. I'd have my issues with them not taking their theme seriously like I do with Far From Home. But the fact that this is Spider-Man just decreases, you know, my enjoyment factor of it.
Yeah, and there is a little part of me that's disappointed that Spider-Man is just the fun one in this universe. So I definitely get those criticisms.
You feel for me. You can sympathize. You feel pity upon me.
Yeah.
Oh.
And like,
I gotta take the pee break. So you guys keep going.
All right.
Well, no, because
I'll be back.
And there he goes.
Oh, did he unplug? Okay. I wish this could be the Spider-Man PS4. I wish that Spider-Man PS4 could exist within the MCU. I think that'd be awesome. But I mean, I like the Spider-Man for what it is, and we have a Spider-Man PS4, so I guess I really can't complain there.
Yeah, and like,
it is interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, I was agreeing with that. I wasn't going to say anything else. I said I agree, but go on.
Okay, I was going to say it is kind of interesting, and this is kind of a tangent, that video games are now 2 for 2, at least in my opinion, in nailing the most accurate and most heartfelt iteration of a character with the Batman Arkham series and Spider-Man PS4. And this kind of sucks because I really like movies, but it doesn't. I feel like video games might be second to comics in terms of how well they can represent these characters.
Yeah, for sure. And also, like, well, I mean, like, think about it. Like, and I never really, like, looked at video games as a means. I played Spider-Man PS4. I played God of War, which, by the way, that was my favorite game in 2018. God of War is an absolutely perfect game. But, like, the whole thing with those stories is the whole point of depicting a character is immersion, right? And what better way to immerse somebody than actually being the person you're trying to actually emotionally relate to? So I think it's great how, like, those characters are actually getting, like, their day in the sun. My problem is, like, I like you said, I love movies, and I wish that those characters were given the same amount of care they are in video games.
Well, it's also just kind of a thing about structurally which ones are better suited for it, because, like, video games, one of the things that I love is that the main story can capture the gravitas and the weight of the central conflict, like Peter's emotional struggle about having Doc Ock be the villain, like somebody he's looked up to his entire life suddenly become this this threatening force that he has to stop, that whole conflict. But then at the same time, you can have these charming, like, comedic side missions where you're chasing pigeons for people, or, like, I don't know, helping someone get a cat out of a tree, that kind of.
Yeah, exactly. It has the dichotomy of, like, things that are actually mostly significant, but it also has little nuances of the character that are both fun but also informative. I totally agree.
I think that's a balance that the movies try to strike. Like Homecoming, I really like Homecoming's montage of him sort of bumbling around trying to do street level work. I feel like
is this? Yeah, for sure. I hear.
Yeah,
that.
Exactly. Like video games have that advantage, only magnified by 1,000, because you can actually those can take up an entire day of gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to just a
series and a story that's emotionally relatable for those characters. Because, like, what better way to immerse somebody is to actually play as the character you're trying to relate to. And, like, we all agree. Like, I don't think Spider-Man PS4 is a perfect game. I have plenty of problems with it. But, like, in terms of, like, okay, well, whatever, Jay. You can just, but like you can definitely see that, like, a lot of time, care, and effort went into portraying that character as, one, accurate to the comics, but two, it did a lot of interesting new things for the character that actually benefit.
But yet he makes his own tech, and then, like, it gives him, like, the first scene. You see that picture of Uncle Ben, and then you throw my fucking ass a bone by showing some Uncle Ben shit, and then you see that he's broke, and then he's independent, and he has consequences for his action. He can't pay his rent. He can't pay blah blah blah, and it's just that appeases every Spider-Man fan. It's like that and Spectacular Spider-Man just are the two that like I don't think any Spider-Man fan hates.
We were talking about also how video games as a medium are just better at, like, which is one of the reasons why I think they're second to comics in portraying these characters, is because they can also capture they can control conflict of, like, Peter, street level funness and
the way he works better.
Central weight. Yeah, it's great.
Well, I think that's, like, the big issue with the movies, all of them, is that, like, Raimi's, like, are so focused on that emotional element, and these are so focused on that fun element, and it's pretty much impossible to have a movie with so many. What we all want is almost impossible given a 2-hour time frame.
Right, exactly. Like you said, you didn't like Spider-Man's big moment with Mysterio being followed up by him having a fun date with MJ. I feel like that in a video game might parallel, like, you completing the main storyline with a big emotional climax and then doing a pigeon chasing mission.
Exactly.
It just works better with one medium.
Yeah,
I know. Sure. It's just like we keep going back to it's what you prefer, and, like, I prefer my Spider-Man dark and emotional, man. No, I not dark, but I prefer my Spider-Man more serious and more emotional.
You want Zack Snyder, like, fucking Spider-Man, like, doing blow off the hood of a car after he saves somebody.
I just can't take it, Uncle Ben. I want a Spider-Man where he, like, fucking makes Uncle Ben run and it makes him cry for.
And, like, there's no cuts. It's just him crying, no dialogue. There we go.
That's what I need.
Yeah.
Am I not supposed to have what I want, what I need?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do?
Alex, you're getting some notoriety.
Comment is I so clearly, like, I agree with everything I said, but I wanted it to be funny because, like, I'm a Raimi shill, and at the time I posted that, I think it was, like, how long ago does it say in the meme picture? Everything about raindrops keep falling on my head is perfect. But now everyone's like, oh, what a pretentious douche. I see that in the comments of, like, Raimi memes. And it's like, do you really think that I am telling people to study this scene in film school? Like, how does that not translate into being funny? I don't know. Maybe I'm just not fucking funny.
Minus, like, 5 seconds. I think we should just wrap this up here. It's going to be a nightmare to edit, so for everyone who's stuck with us with the communication problems, thank you for that. And so if this goes up, great. And if it doesn't, there'll be a lost episode that maybe I'll release for my patrons, something like that. But
there you go.
Yep. Tell everyone where they can find you, which they already can, but still, go ahead, do it. Where can they find you, guys?
Go ahead. Go.
Yeah,
go for it. Yeah.
You can find me at youtube.com/LawOfCinema. My YouTube name is LawOfCinema. My Twitter name is LawOfCinema, and my Instagram name is LawOfCinema. Not much is going on there except for this giant Assassin's Creed retrospective, which is shaping up to be quite
lit. And Alex?
You can find me at twitter.com/flipflopfilms, and you can you can find me on YouTube at pretentious douchebag who knows nothing about cinema. And there you go.
And you can find me scientific cuckboy who can't decide what he wants to do with his life. That's my Twitter handle right there. All right, Lone Chemist Podcast. Sorry for the connection problems, but we're out. Peace.